Hi, writers. Welcome back to another episode of Your Opinion. It's not an episode. This is a mini lesson. What am I thinking? Welcome back to a mini lesson for your opinion writing unit. Now, today, your revising lesson, I think, is going to be one of the strongest moves you can make in an opinion writing piece. And so today I'm going to teach you how to do a revising strategy, which is like adding in your own personal story to show the reader or the listener why you care and why it is they should care. Okay, so it's really about like speaking to the other people's head and heart at the same time. And you do that by kind of thinking about, why do you care about this topic that you're writing about? Why is this so important to you personally? Do you have a little story from your life that you can include? Now, we've seen this in some of the speeches we've looked at. So if you look at the model speeches, the mentor speeches, almost all of those kids start with a little personal story, right? If we think back to Cole, he says, his whole thing is about a story about how he's friends with his mom is friends with a guy with autism, and he's just like so inspired by this personal connection he has. So that whole thing is about a story he has, and it leads him to his thesis, which is we're all kind of weird and we should celebrate it. If we think back to Miriam, who was talking about diversity and inclusion, she starts with this personal story about a time she was on the playground and someone made fun of her headscarf. And so she really talked about how that made her feel. It helps to get us hooked into it, right? When we hear a personal story. So when we do this revision strategy, we take a look at our draft and think about, is there a personal story that I could include here? So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so I have my draft here, and I'm just going to look through and think about, is there a personal story I can include? So here on the introduction, I'm not really sure there's anything that I can connect to. This is more just introducing the topic. In my first reason, she's passionate about fighting climate change. Well, I could include a story about maybe if climate change has impacted my real life. I could include that here, but I can't really think of an example. So let's go to reason 3. She's a role model for kids and adults. There's some things I can connect to here, which is she is a role model for me and my dad. My dad has chosen not to fly on airplanes because it's bad for the environment. She's vegan, and she's like one of my vegan role models because I'm also vegan. So those are some ways I connect personally. I could include that. But for me, I think being a mental health advocate is one of the best ways that I have a connection and the kind of most meaningful personal story. So Greta Thunberg is autistic. She has Asperger's, and so does my brother. So this is something that is really important to me because it connects with my family. So what I'm going to do is write a little personal story and include it in here. So I've added in quite a long paragraph because I felt, as I was writing from my heart, I had so many things to say. I really, feel strongly about this. So I did this revision strategy of found the place where I wanted to insert a paragraph, drew a little symbol. So this time it was kind of like a rectangle-y thing. And now I have that rectangle here. So I know this whole part gets squeezed in there. So let me read it out loud to you. Okay. Greta Thunberg is a mental health advocate. That means she's open about her struggles with depression and her diagnosis. of Asperger's syndrome, a type of autism. Because she is so open and honest, it allows other people who are dealing with those issues not to feel ashamed. Okay, then I put in my revision. This is especially important to me because my brother is also autistic, but he didn't have any autistic people speaking out and talking about the many benefits of Asperger's. I wonder how Patrick, my brother, would have navigated his life differently if he would have had someone like Greta being so public about her diagnosis. I guess we'll never know. But one thing is for sure, autistic kids growing up now will likely feel better, at least a little bit, to see someone autistic having such a big impact on the world. And I go back to my original paragraph. When she was 11 years old, Greta became very sad and sick. She felt hopeless. She felt depressed. Around the same time, she was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, a type of autism. Greta does not want to change herself. She does not want to be a person who doesn't have autism. She sees her autism as a positive. She feels it helps her activism and her fight against climate change. Okay, so just reading that out loud made me realize I might want to switch it around. I actually think I want to add my revision to the end of my paragraph. So I'm just going to take out that square from the middle and put it at the end. I think that my personal story will fit better at the end of that paragraph. Okay, so now it's time for you to practice. You can do the same steps I did. Go through your piece, reread it, think about, do I have a personal story that I could connect to here? And once you do, figure out what that's going to be. Do your little revision strategy of using a symbol to tell you like where you're going to put in the new paragraph, and then go ahead and write it. I can't wait to see what you all come up with. Like I said in the beginning, this is a really strong move to help your reader or your listener really start to feel connected to your thesis and really like begin to agree with your opinion. So if you have any questions, let me know. If not, happy writing.